Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. Just me, just talking the usual movies, games, TV, and stuff from the week. Did you hear that I broke my arm? If you didn't know that I broke my arm, you will by the end of this one. So there's that. Did a lot of half-term activities. Did make it to the cinema, so there's that. And I've been playing a lot of computer games because, not much else I can do. So yeah. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, comment, drop any reviews you want to drop, and just share the podcast around. Pass it on to a friend, a family members, neighbours. Pass it on. Anyway, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello. How you doing? You alright? Oh. One of those things. Had to deal with some, for want of a better way of putting it, bullshit before starting this, and now I feel all like, for fuck's sake. That's right, we're 17 seconds in, and the swears are already flying. It's been one of those days, weeks, months, lifetimes. Oh, God. So, how are you doing? You alright? Are you having a good time? Are you having a good week? So, broken arm update. Still, last I checked, broken. That's been obviously impacting everything from an exercise standpoint. Running, working out, swimming. Wanted to go swimming. But just wasn't sure how it would be impacted. Took all the girls climbing, but felt like a bit of a fifth wheel in that process. It just sucks. So all I can really do is walk. So I've been doing not a lot of walking. I've been doing some walking. Basically walk 4 miles on a morning. Get up early, walk 4 miles. Get home. Walk the dog 2 miles. Get back. Try and get as much walking in during the day as possible. Walk the dog 2 miles in the evening. And just hope for the best as far as the day and the numbers are concerned. And that was, it was going fine, it was going okay, it was best of a bad situation kind of system. And then one day, and I think this is just one of those things, I think it's just one of those occurrences, one of those regular occurrences, where exercise is concerned. If you are doing the kind of exercise where you work on the principle that there's no finish line, there's no end in sight, there's no I'm exercising until this day at this time because I've got this race to do, or this, I don't know, people who went to competitions, I guess, or like a boxer, UFC fighter training for a fight. There's a definitive end date. But when that's not what you're doing, when you're just doing it day in, day out, I think it's natural that just that monotony. And obviously you can keep it at bay by mixing it up. Before the broken arm, it was running, outdoor running, indoor running, weightlifting, yoga. Can't tell you how much I'm missing the yoga. reached a point where I'd worked out that I can't actually bend my left leg at the knee when I'm doing exercise. And I'm starting to think, the more I look at it, the more I address it, the more I deal with it, I'm actually starting to think that might have been what caused the broken arm. There's a possibility that because I wasn't able to bend my leg at the knee, that's what caused me to fall over. That's what caused the trip. So I think on top, the top thing is I'm missing the yoga the most. There's a couple of things that I thought would have kicked in sooner with not doing yoga on a weekly basis. Don't get me wrong, glad they haven't. But there is also the stuff that I'm starting to notice more and more, and I'm like, man, I really miss being able to do the yoga. But there was a day I was walking home. I'd done my out and I was doing my back. So I was walking back and I just had one of those moments, like kind of like a snap, where it was like, oh my God, is this really it? Is this really the life, the existence? Is this really all there is? Just walking or running or lifting or stretching, or is this it? And it was a tough pill to swallow, because there was that element of, do you know what, I might just stop. But taking it for what it was, like the simplest form, I wasn't home. So that realization of I was doing the lowest possible thing, which was walking. So I was like, so how do I get home from here? How do I get home from here? What am I going to do? How do I get home from here? How do I do this bit? So I had to keep walking to get home, and that kind of pushed me through that barrier. And admittedly, I've not had it since. So I think it was just a blip, and it's not the first time. I've discussed it on here before. It's not the first time by a long shot that I've been like, is this it? Is this life? Is this where we're at? Is this what we're doing? So I know that it happens every now and then, and I know that, there is that element of just pushing through it. But, oh man, I tell you, sometimes it feels like, was it a little dung beetle or something pushing that ball of dung up a hill? Or was that just on a nature program? There was a guy. Was it Greek mythology? There was a guy pushing a boulder up a hill. I feel like that was a story. And I feel like it relates to this. I've written down here on my list. Realising arm is actually broken. Which was, I wrote it down, so it is just designed to be a reminder. But reading it back, it's like, I don't know if you've ever broken a bone or torn a ligament or pulled a muscle, any of those sorts of things. Something that, I had a series of times in my life where I pulled my back, and to the point that I couldn't even put socks on. So, like, debilitating injury kind of thing, where you try and convince yourself that it's not real. Like, oh, somebody made a mistake, or, oh, that machine that can see through my skin and take a picture, yeah, it was wrong that day, or that sort of stuff. Every now and then, I get a very stark reminder that my arm is actually broken, and it's usually when I try to do something that I could do before it was broken quite easily and simply and, you know, whatever, that I can't do now. So the first one was looking at my watch. That was the first thing. That was the realisation. That was how the lady at the hospital knew that the arm was broken, because I was like, I can't look at my watch. She was like, yep, it's because your arm's broken. So there was a thing the other day where I thought I'd test to see if I had any more use of the arm. So I decided that I was going to put some weight on it to try and turn the shower on. But it wasn't that. I was going to try and close the bathroom window so that I could put the shower on, which meant the way I used to do it was I would rest my left arm on the windowsill, use my right arm to close the window. So I was like, you know, that's not difficult. Even with a broken arm, I'm sure that's possible. And found very quickly, no, it's not possible to put any weight on the arm. And again, a little bit sort of demoralising when you're like, oh, it is actually broken, isn't it? I'm very much over it. But again, like the exercising, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't just say, okay, we're done with this now, let's move on. Because that doesn't fix anything. It's like, you know, okay, I want to be able to drive. Driving right now would be really helpful and useful, and I could get through a variety of things that I can't do. If I could drive, that would be great. But I can't. So it's that sort of stuff. And the knowledge that it's still going to be a couple of weeks, I'm very much done with it now. There's a lot of I think both me and Leanne had that realisation that it's only 2 weeks ago. It feels like months ago. So it's been, I think this is the point now where it's like, I am done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. I do want to get a drink though. I've been listening to a podcast recently, and it's just one guy who just talks and talks, kind of like this one. But you never hear him take a drink. And after, some of the podcasts are in like the 3-hour region. And I'm like, I can only presume they edit it out. Because there's no way that person can talk like that without having a drink. He says, having another drink. So I had a very strange, not very strange, but slightly strange. I had an incident happened on Thursday. I took all the children, and I mean all the children, into town. Middle daughter had some vouchers to spend from her birthday, decided it was probably a good idea to get them spent so they're not just going to waste. I told everybody to take some money. Just in case, you never know, you might see something. As it was, everybody came home with something, apart from the boy, apart from the youngest. He did not come home with anything because one of the shops we were going to was a bookshop, and as I kept telling the others, he's recently had some new books, just didn't need any. Went into town, did a little bit of shopping, got on the bus to come home. I've been told previously, don't worry about getting on the bus, because although you think it's really expensive, it won't be. It'll only be this much. Spoilers, that information was incorrect, and it was really expensive to get on the bus to travel a mile and a half. So expensive. No wonder I gave up using buses a long time ago. Anyway, we get off the bus, and whether it was the excitement of going on the bus. When you're a child, going on the bus is exciting. So whether it was that, so there was the excitement of going on the bus, whether it was the excitement of going into town. Going into town might be exciting as a child. Buying new things, getting new things. Maybe it's that. Who knows? But I sensed that my youngest daughter and my middle daughter were getting very amped up, getting very excitable, very excited. And almost in one fluid train of thought, I went, this is very similar to that time that, again, my two youngest daughters got very excited, got very amped up, got very, and my youngest daughter fell over and smashed all her face in. So, as that was happening, she was coming to a uneven piece of ground that was also a hill. There was also just like rocks and stones and rubble and like, you know, that like random bit of tarmac, but it's the old tarmac, so it's all gravelly and just like the worst terrain imaginable. So as I had this thought of, oh, they're getting like that time that she fell over, I looked to see her start going down this hill of death. And I went, oh no, she's going to fall over. And literally, as that thought went through my mind and I went to open my mouth to say, oh, darling, just mind your foot in there because you're getting a bit amped up. And you know what happened last time? You fell over and you hurt your face. And that footing's real uneven and you're not as sure-footed as you could be. And as all of that was about to leave my mouth, I watched her trip on a stone and fall down a hill, think about the gravity involved here, and smash her face into the stone and rocks and rubble and gravel and weird tiny bit of tarmac. And I just went, the hell happened there? It was like, I knew she was going to fall, and then she fell. Am I psychic? No, I'm not psychic. And I'm like, oh, that thing of, I've got all 4 children on my watch. Of course, she's going to fall over. Of course, she's going to have a horrific injury. Of course, ultimately, this is my fault. I went over, I was like, and here's where things went even worse than they could have been, even worse than they should have been. This is where things went wrong. Because sometimes, as a parent, I have 2 voices, 2 competing voices in my head. One is the voice that I want to use, that often gets pushed to the back. And the other is a parenting voice that I would have heard many moons ago. And that voice, more often than not, comes to the forefront, which is unfortunate, and I have to sort of manage that. So instead of saying, oh, darling, oh no, you've fallen, oh, you know, let's get you picked up, and oh, what have you done? Have you hurt yourself? You know, the nice parent, I went with, darling, you fall over because you don't pay attention to what's going on around you. That's what you want to hear when you've just fallen down. Managed to get her up, and I'm like, oh, no. And as I watched it happen in slow motion, I saw her face hit the ground. I knew it was going to be bad. I was like, worst case scenario, she's going to have knocked a tooth out, and we're going to be having to deal with that for the next however many years Luckily, not the case. She did scratch up all of her top lip. And once home and cleaned up and under further inspection, she'd actually grazed her chin, her top lip, and one of her nostrils. And I'm like, I've got this whole thing at the moment where I'm trying to create these stronger, tougher, more resilient children, because the world is awful, and one day they're going to enter the world for real and realise that it's an absolute shit show, and everybody in it is just the worst. Not everybody, but you know what I mean. So I'm trying to cultivate stronger children. And there's been this conversation in our house about whether that's maybe gone too far with certainly my youngest daughter. She is very much, if she falls, she just gets up and carries on about her business. Doesn't even bat an eyelid these days. So I tried to pick her up, which I can't do because I've got a broken arm. Did I mention I've got a broken arm? Can't pick my children up. That's fun. So I had that to deal with. So I'm like trying to like half pick her up using my one arm that I can use, which I managed to make it about 5 feet because she's not exactly light, and I had to put her down. And then I'm like, let's hold hands, but I don't want you next to the road. So hold the sleeve of my jacket that doesn't have my arm in, because that's comforting. So we walk down the road, and I'm like, you are not going to be satisfied until you have scarred your face completely. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, darling. And that voice in my head is still saying, be nicer, be nice. Tell her it's okay. And I'm like, oh, it'll be all right, darling. We'll get you home and get you cleaned up. This was all fine and well and good right up until the point that she decided to step off a curb without registering that she was on the pavement. Nearly binned it again. And I'm like, what exactly is it that you are trying to achieve right now? So we get back. I'm like, right, we need a flannel. Cannot find a flannel in this house for love nor money. I'm like, right, okay, next. We've got a bajillion muslins. Let's use one of them. And at the last minute, I was like, let's get a cloth. My son's got all these like cloths for like wiping his face after meals and stuff. I was like, let's use one of them. Get one, we got some hot water on it, start cleaning. She'd already washed her hands and swilled the dirt out of her mouth. Right, let's see the damage. Hands are fine. Chin grazed. Lip clearly grazed because she's bleeding walking home. Chin grazed. Lip grazed. Nostril grazed. Rest of the face dirty but okay. I'm like, darling, look at your face. It's bad, but it's not too bad. We're going to put some Sudocrem on it. It'll all be fine. And the guy that's like, I've got to make these children tough so they can deal with the world, so they can go out there and deal with all the savages that are out there that are going to try and hurt them and be mean to them, and they need to be strong, and they need to be tough, and they need to be, everything I wasn't as a child. They need to be this. That guy didn't realise he was about to get stabbed in the heart when this tiny little face turned around and looked at me and said, I'm sorry, Daddy. And I was like, trying not to cry, going, you don't need to apologise to me, darling. It's not my face. Whilst inside just like, what are you doing? So yeah, I'm trying to... I'm thinking about trying to maybe soften the edges a touch, because I don't know how to explain it when you can't pick your child up and give her a hug and say, it's all right, you fell over and bumped your face. I think that's one thing, but then adding on top of that, oh, get yourself up and let's get cracking, because, there's no time for crying. And, that guy, the militaristic drill instructor who thinks that the best way is just get up, dust yourself off and move on. He says with his broken arm. Can you imagine I've got a broken arm? So I did a thing. I don't really know how much I want to talk about the thing I did, which is going to be problematic. I did a thing. I moved outside of my comfort zone. A comfort zone that has been in place for many, 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 many years. I moved outside my comfort zone and I did a thing. And weirdly, it felt good. It felt right. It felt just. It felt like it was going to go my way. And a couple of weeks later, I was like, we're good here. This is going to... Because I went outside my comfort zone, I'm going to be repaid by... it all coming back on me. It's all going to be good and we're going to be fine. Everything's great. And what happened was it went the other way. So I went outside my comfort zone. I did a thing. And it backfired on me. And I was like, oh no. So recently I've been trying things like this, trying to step outside of my comfort zone in this area, step outside of my comfort zone in this area, step outside of my comfort zone in as many areas as possible, and then try to hang on for dear life. It's like kind of saying, oh, I've never ridden a mechanical bull before. And somebody says to you, okay, well, the record for this mechanical bull here is 1 minute. If you can stay on that for 1 minute and 1 second, you will hold the record. And that record's never been beaten in 10 years. So you get on it and you go, I'm going to do it. And you've just got to hold on and hold on and hold on for as long as you can. And there are aspects of, if you last 20 seconds, that's 20 seconds more than you'd lasted 20 seconds earlier. If you last 30, you were halfway there. 45, amazing. But if you can make it to that minute and 1 additional second, well, guess what? Greatness is at the other side of that. And that's kind of, in a weird, cryptic way, that's kind of how I've been trying to do things recently. So there's that part of me that doesn't understand why it all went wrong, why it backfired on me. So then you have to do all the, well, it wasn't meant to be, was it? Wasn't meant to be. Was not meant to be. That's not the one for me. But it's the other stuff. The other stuff that it affects. So, the small amount of confidence that I have, which, let's face it, is pretty much non-existent, took this huge knock. To the point of, this is what I was going to talk about. I've started not sending text messages. Now, as a statement, that sounds weird, but I can explain. So, I had this thing where, I had a thought that went in my head. Where can that thought go? Oh, this group of people that I've got this group messaging thing with, this group of people would really appreciate that thought. Oh, here's a funny picture, or here's a joke I thought of, or that kind of stuff. The sort of stuff guys do. Here's something I saw on Twitter, isn't it funny? All this. Here's a thing about a thing that let's discuss. Oh my God, I saw this thing earlier today. Can you believe how hilarious it is? A long drawn out conversation that I had with my children that I'm now relaying to you. And all these different people. What I've found, and I can't explain it, but it's like my confidence has taken a knock in the sense that now I don't send text messages. And I write them as well. Write all the text message out. So I'm like, hey, let me tell you about a conversation I had with my children. And it's like three different children and 4 different conversation strands. And it's like me talking about stuff and them talking about stuff. And, oh, isn't it hilarious? And blah, 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 blah. And at the end of it, I go, oh, they're not going to care. I just delete the whole thing. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to take a picture of this. So I took a picture of something. Like, oh, I'm going to send it to this person. Like, oh, right, I'm going to send it to this person. So you do the thing where you put the picture in the message, and then you do the thing where you write underneath, oh, I saw this, and it reminded me of this reminds me of you, sort of thing. That kind of thing. And then I go to send it, and I go, oh, that person's not going to care about that. So delete the picture, delete the message. It's weird how weird things, like how you react to things. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to let this knockback affect me. I'm not going to be grumpy. I'm not going to mope about it. I'm not going to take it out on other people. Well-adjusted, rounded things that I normally would do. I'm not going to sulk. I'm not going to take it out on this person or that person, or it's not their fault. It's my fault. And oh, I'm not going to contact this person, tell them about my downfall. I'm not going to tell this person about this or that or the other. Which in a lot of ways, in some ways, I was like, that's a very mature and grown-up thing to do. Look at me and my maturity, and look how far I've come in life, and blah, 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 blah. However, instead, I'm now in a world where I don't send text messages because I work on the principle that nobody cares what I'm going to have to say anyway. So, yay. Look how mature and well-developed and well-rounded I am. As mentioned previously, sorry if that was loud. As mentioned previously, we did get over to go to do the climbing. Eldest daughter bought some climbing shoes, so that's £2.50 saved each time. Middle daughter, she does the climbing. Youngest daughter, she insists on coming, but she can't do it. She needs help, and I can't help, so ultimately it's money for her to roll around on the mat. So got it sorted so that she could miss the first half and come for the second half. Ultimately, still the same money, but gives the other two the opportunity. So, me and the two older children went to the climbing place, met up with podcast alum Edward Dench. So, we get there. Now, my eldest is clearly into it. Spent a lot of money on some shoes, bought some chalk. She's down. This is it for her. She's in. My middle daughter, the first couple of times we went, it was just, she wanted to climb up off the ground a couple of feet, and then that was her done. And the last time we went, it was like, well, why don't you just go one more hand hold up, and then you've gone higher than you've gone before, and that kind of thing. But as I've said before, my middle daughter is very controlled and governed and affected by the fear of things. We'll come to that in a bit. I'll come to that again in a bit. We'll talk about it now. So I was like, I wanted to get past this. My eldest is really enjoying it. She's really pushing herself. She's moved. She's conquered the first 2 colours, and I saw that she was now starting to look at other colours and really try to develop a different style. I saw her doing some quite advanced techniques. I'm like, this is amazing. I love it when they love activities and they want to get involved and they want to do stuff. I'm very much behind that sort of stuff. You want to pick an activity and you want to do it, I am there. I'll help you. All of that sort of stuff. I'm big into that. So I was like, the other thing is the eldest doesn't need help or supervision. She can sort of go with Ed and they can basically climb together. So I was like, right, just me and my middle daughter. I can't help her. So I need her to be able to do it. So I'm like, well, why don't you try this one? This one looks doable. And you could go this way and you could do this and do that. And we'd found one that was quote unquote easy looking. I was like, I think you could do this. I think you could go all the way up there. So we sort of worked out a plan and plotted a route and away she went. When she got to about my head height, I was like, look, what I'm saying to you here is you could easily go further. I can use my good hand to sort of push you onto the wall, giving you that ability to be able to reach up and go higher. And then you've got literally 2 more handholds to do. And that's you done. You'll have completed it. You'll have done it. You'll be a success. So that's what she did. She tried and she got up there and completed, I think it's like oranges first. So she completed her first orange. And she came down and I spoke to her about it and I said, you know, you need to hold this tight inside. This is an achievement. This is a big thing. And I went, you know, on and on as I like to do about how, you know, achievements could drive you on further in life and you can always look back and say, I achieved that because I was like, you know, confidence, you used confidence to get you up there. Look how tall it is. That's like twice the size of me. All of this. She got a little bit emotional about it, which in a situation like that, I don't necessarily think that there was anything too wrong with that. She was obviously seeing that she'd achieved something. I told her that I was very proud of her for not letting fear control a situation and actually, you know, embracing that situation. I was like, look, there's one over here. This is a different one, but it looks similar. It looks doable. For somebody who's just done one, it looks doable to me. We went over, she tried it again, like just that tiny little bit of help, and up she went and she did that one. And I'm like, that's 2 you've done. She came down, she went to another one, did another one, came down, went to another. This was the theme of the day. Then she changed on to a different colour, moved up a colour, started doing those. I was like, I really think the way I'm seeing what you're doing today, I really think that you could move up a colour. You could go on and you could do another colour. And you could achieve even more today, add even more. And we were counting how many things she'd achieved and how many she'd done and all of this, that and the other. And so many in, she'd moved up onto this other colour. And she'd done, I think she'd done 8 full routes on her own, completed on her own, no help past a certain point. She'd done it all on her own. All of this, there was a point in time where she started climbing up one. She got to my head height, which was all fine and well and good and great and groovy and fantastic. And then she went the next handhold up and I went, oh no, it's too high. I don't like it. And it was like the fear had transferred to me and I was afraid. And from that point, every time she went past a certain point, I was like, oh my God, it's so high. What if something goes wrong? What if she falls? So all the things that she'd been afraid of, all the things that she was there going, oh, but it's too high. And what if I fall? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Get yourself up there. And then after a while, I'm like, oh my God, it's too high. What if she fell? There was a moment where there was a point where she sort of slipped, came down the wall a little quicker than she'd intended. And again, this was another point in time where I was like, look, this can't define you, because something like this is going to be one of those where it's going to stop you from enjoying it. It's going to stop you from climbing. It's going to stop you from continuing. So I honestly think the best thing to do is just get back at it. And where previously that would have been a much bigger thing, she just got back up. She got back up the wall, got another one under her belt, another climb under her belt. So up to that point, we were saying she'd had one full climb up to that point. When she left on Saturday or whatever day it was, she had 11 full climbs, both orange and yellow. Orange is like your beginner, yellow's the next one up. Just absolutely fantastic. I was absolutely blown away by her achievement. My eldest was getting, like I say, looking at going up and up to the next colour up. Absolutely phenomenal. Just what a complete change in the space of a couple of weeks. So, set myself a little task, a little challenge, a little objective, where I'm not going to be defined by this injury. So, basically, I was like, I've got to do something. I was like, I'm going to try and run. I was like, if I'm honest, thinking about it, I don't know if running is really going to affect the arm too much. Because when I run almost like both of my arms are in slings anyway. So I don't think the arm's going to be affected. It's not like I do any twisting of my arms when I run. So I'm like, I think I need to try. I need to see where I'm at. I've had a couple of weeks of downtime. I just need to see. So I tried to do a little run. Man, what a bad idea that was. So, irony in this one is that the arm felt fine, didn't feel anything, didn't feel a twinge, nothing. Like, the arm, not a problem there, my friend. We are good to go. Can get back to running, get back to getting the miles under the belt. Everything is golden, gravy, fantastic, wonderful. Apart from the fact that everything from the waist down was fucked. Did I mention that I can't bend my left knee? My left leg at the knee. Yeah, that's a lot worse than I thought it was. It's really bad. And I'm not sure if that's causing an additional problem because my right hip joint, like the ball and socket bit of the right leg, yeah, absolute agony. Now, for the last couple of years I've experienced this anyway because it's just one of those things. I don't know. Really hard to explain. Don't experience it while I'm running. Experience it while I'm walking. Or if I'm doing a strange sort of like, if I'm turning, like, if you're in a room and you turn around to walk out, that kind of strange turn causes this weird pain in the leg joint. Well, I don't know what the hip. I suppose if you had a hip replacement, that's what they'd replace. Oh my word, do I need a hip replacement? So everything from the waist down, absolutely boned. Two completely different things as well. So it's not like you can just say, oh, I'll just bend this at this way and do it like this to compensate. Because it's two completely different areas, two completely different need for compensation. Didn't have the brain power or capacity to work out how to compensate for two different things. So it was just like, well, I guess this is this. The knee situation, I'm honestly wondering whether that's something to do with the fall that I took. Because the one thing that was never addressed in the whole thing was how much impact my knees took. Because obviously the toe that turned purple and needed x-raying was where the impact happened. And the arm was obviously broken. So the knees didn't really get a look in the damage assessment. So now it's like, was the damage done to the knee? And in trying to compensate for the damage done to the knee, is that causing the hip? And ultimately, this all ties into running ain't no fun, and it ain't no joke. So what is that, and what's the solution? This is why I'm saying I feel like I need to get back to yoga. I need to get back to stretching all of this out. I'm hoping that the problems that, the knee feels tight, so it feels like it needs stretching. So maybe that's the solution to that. And maybe if the knee doesn't hurt, that'll relieve the pain on the hip. Is that how that works? I don't know. But I'm not sure I see much long distance running in my future if I can't sort this problem out. So that's the week. Or is it? Because in a lot of ways, it is. And in a lot of ways, it isn't. Because the entertainment stuff from this week bleeds into the week itself. Now then, just need to double check something because I have a feeling I don't think I've written down. Very quickly. Catch your monkey. What does this say? Yeah, there you go, you see. Because I've written down 3 when it's actually 6. No. Right, there we go. No, it's 5. Silly man. So, TV-wise. Remember I was saying I watched that TV series 6, about SEAL Team 6. And I watched all of Series 1. There is a second series, which I started. And as with things like, as always with things like this, it's always the same. It's not always the same, but it's often the case. Series 1, great, fantastic, wonderful, loved it, brilliant. There was a couple of issues with the first series, stuff that I could have done without, but other than that, Series 1 was great, loved it. Series 2, so far, I'm 5 episodes in. I believe there's 10 episodes. And having just looked, I've got 9 days left to watch them. 5 episodes in. And all the stuff from Series 1 that I didn't like, and all the stuff from Series 1 that I did like, has literally traded places in Series 2. So the 10% of stuff that I didn't like in Series 1 is now the 90% of stuff in Series 2. Very much one of those that I imagine they didn't really know that they were definitely going to get a second series. I probably didn't plan that out. But it's all, this is a SEAL team and they're all broken. One guy's got a concussion. One guy's got family problems. Another guy, a different guy, going through some sort of divorce, separation thing. Then they've got a new guy who's crazy. They've got a guy who was going to be one thing before he became a SEAL, and he's now bridging the gap between these two lives. And it's just like, hey, guess what? I don't care. I'm not watching a program about Navy SEALs to find out what that guy's daughter did at school today. You know, for want of a better way of putting it, we're here for the shooty bang bang that Series 1 was absolutely jam-packed with. They've added this weird, random, like almost like a main character, and It was essentially tried to crowbar this woman into this story and have aligned this woman with the bad guy from the first series. It's one of those. If I didn't think that if I just let it go, I'd maybe wonder whether it got better or what was the outcome. I'd have just stopped watching it. When you start a new series, you're like, I'll watch the first episode and see what it's like. You watch the first episode and you make a decision there and then whether you're going to continue with it. In a lot of ways, I feel like I should have maybe done that with the second series of this, because I didn't sign up for this. It's kind of that, I've got 9 days left to watch the whole series, which is another 5 episodes. How heartbroken am I going to be if I don't get through them in the next 9 days? That kind of thing. In other news, been watching, because it's the off season, been watching The League. Got through series 1. It was a lot shorter than I remembered it being. It was like 6 episodes, I think. I said to Paul, Matt and Stu the other day, I was like, every single time I start The League, I always wonder if it's going to stand up. I wonder whether it's a little bit too dated. I think we're talking like 2007 when it was originally set, and then moving forward for 6, 7 seasons or whatever it is. So you're like, oh man, is it going to be real dated? 4 minutes into the first episode, you're like, nope. Absolutely rattled through series 1, well into series 2 now, and honestly, as a series, it just does not disappoint. There have been episodes, I've seen The League multiple times all the way through, and there are episodes that have kept me laughing start to finish. I watched an episode this evening, I was laughing my ass off. Absolutely phenomenal. Movies. Been a few movies in this house this week. Either something I've seen a million times. Me and my eldest watched X-Men, which I'm as surprised as you are. She's gone off book recently. She started watching Marvel movies, which on one hand baffles me, and on the other hand I'm like, cool, I love Marvel films. But hey, not for us to be talking about right now. They all watched Despicable Me 3. I think I saw 10 minutes of it. Can't comment. I've only ever seen probably about 10 minutes of it before. However, we made it to the cinema to see a film that pretty much everybody wanted to see. Good Times. Apart from the fact that, in hindsight... Okay, let me start properly. I'll tell you what the film was. The film was that it was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I'm not usually a fan of a spin-off. I'm not a fan of, weirdly, when they started doing Minions movies. That sort of stuff. So, saw a trailer for, it's a Puss in Boots film. It's, I think, like the second Puss in Boots movie. I think there's been one before it. There was, was it 3 Shrek movies? So what? We're now on film 5? Has there been others? Part of me thinks that there was a spin-off or a TV series or something. Anyway, saw a trailer for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and I went, that kind of looks good as a spin-off. That kind of looks good. So maybe we need to go and see it. So I showed them all the trailer. Would you go and watch this at the cinema? Yes. Now, I'm very particular about which films we go to these days, because if it's a Disney film, it's going to be on Disney. We're not going to the cinema to see a Disney film. We had the whole thing with Matilda where it was supposed to come out at Christmas on Netflix, so we didn't need to go and see it, and then they changed that, and it's like, oh no, it's not coming out until the summer. My eldest really wanted to see it, so we had to go to the cinema, even though it'll come on Netflix at some point. You know, there's got to be some reason to have that subscription. That sort of stuff. So, it's a DreamWorks movie. It's not going to go on to streaming until it's available to buy. That's going to be however long down the line. I'm happy for us to go to the cinema. Side note. This was fun. Nana bought the girls for Christmas, or all the children if you like, a voucher to go to the cinema. Now I'm like, it's probably going to be, X amount it's going to get it so that they can go to the cinema, they can watch a movie, we can use the voucher, bing bang bong, done. I'm booking the cinema. I've got the seats ready to roll. I go to payment. I'm like, okay, right, before I go to payment, I need to go into the voucher to get the code from the voucher so I can use it to pay. At which point I see that the voucher is more like, hey, you go to the cinema for a good few times if you like. I'm like, whoa, super generous, amazing, fantastic, wonderful. Saw a thing on the voucher that said redeem in store, and I'm like, cool, I just need the code so I can use it on the app or the website, whichever you like. I go back, payment options, card, okay, no. Other card, no. Apple Pay, no. Where's the pay with voucher option? Oh, that's not an option. Oh, that seems strange. Or maybe it's because it's on the app. Okay, let me go back. I'll do it on the website. That's fine. Now, whilst I'm trying to book the seats, the tickets, all of that, the seats are going live. They're like, people are booking them left, right, and centre. They are disappearing at a rate of knots. So I'm like, I need to be quick. I go to the website. I go through the process. I try and book the thing. The way that you pay for it is card, Apple Pay. What is happening right now? I go back to the voucher, and where it says redeem in store, that's the only option. I'm like, what? The realization at this point that there is never going to be a point in time when that voucher is going to get used, because apparently you can't use it to book online. What a, in some ways, genius from the perspective of the cinema, because they already know that nobody's ever spending that voucher, because nobody's going to travel all the way to the cinema to attempt to use the voucher and then go, sorry, we haven't got any seats available. What are you going to do? Hang around for 2 hours, wait for the next showing? What if you go into one of those showings where it's only that showing that day? What then? Absolute insanity. That is nothing but another example of people getting jacked for money. Anywho, I'm like, F this for a bag of whatever. I'll just buy the freaking tickets because I've got no other option at this point in time. There was this plan of going there to do a thing. I was like, I'm just going to buy the tickets because I can't be asked dealing with this right now. It should have been done. Let's make magic. So, I bought the tickets. Ended up having to get like second row. I'm like, this is going to be fun. We go to see Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. We go in, have this weird thing where I think you can get down one side to get to the seats, where you can't. You can only get to the seats on one side. Weird. Luckily for us, although it was the second row was quite far back, so you could see the screen fine. Perfect. Job done. Boom. My favourite, buy 4 seats. 30 seconds after we get there, my youngest daughter always does the same thing. Daddy, can I come and sit with you? Yeah, of course you can, darling. Looking at that. Not cheap seats, because the price of the seats have gone back up. Anyway. We sit through all the garbage. Absolute garbage. The adverts, oh my God, the adverts just die. Then you've got the trailers. Even the trailers these days are shit. There was one good trailer, and I've seen it before, and it's the new Spider-Man film, and it looks freaking awesome. Other than that, every trailer for every kids film, I was like, this looks shit. Anyway, the thing for the film comes up. This is an animated kids movie, and the thing for the film comes up, and it said PG. And I went, what? Why is it PG? It's a kids' film. It's animated. It should be a U. Why is it PG? And instantly I went, probably worth taking note of that. So we started watching it. So far in, there is a character. This is not a spoiler. There's a character that appears, and it's a big scary wolf. Yeah, it was a big scary wolf. Now, in my opinion, absolutely hands down, fantastic character. I thought this character was amazing. I was like, I honestly think whoever created, designed, made, however you want to put it, the character of this wolf in this film should be talking to other studios about making proper villains in proper, proper bad guys in proper movies, because wow, this is good. This is the sort of thing you want to see when you come to the cinema. That's what I thought as a 42-year-old male going, yeah, turn across, look at my daughter. I'm like, why is she lying face down on my chest? Oh, because I'm not the audience. She is, and she is scared. Oh no, if she's scared, turn around, look at my other daughter, who's basically hiding in a hoodie. I'm like, well, I can't imagine that character's going to be in it much. That'll be the PG rating then, yeah? Cool. So, there was a point in it where one of my daughters was lying face down and the other one was crying. Don't think my eldest was too bothered by it, but hey. Aside to all of that, can I just say, I really enjoyed that film. It was really good. Like I say, not a massive fan of a spin-off. Not a massive fan of, the lower rent characters, shall we say. But I do love what DreamWorks do. I love DreamWorks. So we're on for a winner. The art style that they're using these days, great. Love it. Just did spend half the time trying to work out some of the voices. One of the voices, I thought I knew who it was. Waited for the credits at the end. Never heard of the person who it actually was. But I did get one of the other voices. I got the voice of the little dog. Absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Again, like I say, not exactly the audience for it. If you're planning on taking a small person, try and work out if they're afraid of giant scary wolves. If they are, might not be the film for them. Just a heads up. Computer games. I'm still playing Need for Speed. I'm closing in on the end of the third week. Won't make any sense to anybody who hasn't played it. I have tried to explain it before. It's a bit weird. The game's split into weeks. 7 days, day and night. Days racing, night times, different racing. You got the police to deal with. All of that. You need money. You need cars. That's the name of the game. Get after it. I'm closing in on the end of the third week. Already have enough money and the right car to enter the race. So part of me is like, hey, I might just go and do the last couple of days and just basically not do anything and then just enter the race at the end of it. Finished Dead Space. For a game that I really wasn't sure about for quite a lot of it, towards the back end, I was like, yeah, I'm sold on this one. Yeah, it pulled it back. The back end was I think it was somewhat different to the original. There was a twist. I don't know if anybody played the original. There was a twist at the end of the first one. So obviously you know what the twist is and you know to expect it and you know it's coming, you know when it's going to happen. So they did the right thing and changed the twist. Boom, baby. Loved it. Obviously, thankfully, New Game Plus was already ready to go, so I jumped straight in on that. Something that is a little annoying with these ones is, you get all your weapons and all your upgrades and all of your suits and all your You get all of that when you find a shop. And you don't find a shop for about an hour. So it's New Game Plus, to a degree. Something I thought was interesting was when it's like, there might be different enemies, like new enemies in it. I was like, that's cool. So, started that. All good, all groovy, all gravy. I'll keep coming back to that, just like I keep coming back to Need for Speed, like every other day, play Need for Speed. One thing I did want to talk about. A little while ago, I got... I think I had Injustice. Anybody that doesn't know, it's the DC fighting game made by the people that make Mortal Kombat. I think I got it on the PlayStation Plus, so it was free. I played it with my eldest a bit, and we got onto it. And then, anything like that. Like the next child along wants to go, and the next child along wants to go. I think when we had it originally, my youngest was a bit too young for stuff like that. My youngest daughter, sorry. Time passed. Got Injustice 2. I bought that, I think, and I bought a load of upgrades for it. Because I was like, hey, we enjoyed the first one. We got that one for free. Maybe it's not so bad to pay a bit of money for this one, especially if we're going to get some enjoyment out of it. Which we did. We enjoyed it. It was fun. It was great. We enjoyed it. Played it for a bit. That was that. So my youngest daughter the other day, I don't know why, I said to her, I was like, I'm going to get you to play this game. I'm going to teach you how to fly a helicopter. So we did that for a bit, and it wasn't really for her. And I was like, well, what about this game? It was like a skateboarding game. It was free, PlayStation Plus game. She played that for a bit, still not for her. I was like, I don't really know what to tell you, darling. I don't know what game you can play. And then randomly I was like, what about a fighting game? Yeah, play a fighting game. So I put Injustice 2 on, because it's there on the thing, just in case the girls want to play it. So she was playing, she was loving it. She was playing, she had to be Harley Quinn, and she had to fight. The person that she was fighting was Harvey, Poison Harvey. I'm like, darling, it's Ivy. Yeah. I want to be Poison Harvey. Right, it's Ivy. Yeah, Poison Ivy. Whatever. So she just sat for an entire afternoon doing that. So I said to her the other day, I was like, did you tell your sisters what you've been playing? I've been playing fighting game. They're like, what fighting game? Mel's like, you've been playing Injustice? Yeah, she's been playing Injustice. Oh, I want to play Injustice. So it sort of reinvigorated the wanting to play Injustice 2. So one evening, I'm getting the younger two to bed. I was like, you guys put that on and play that. I'm going to get the others, or help to get the others to bed. Job done. I came back and I was like, what is going on here? So my eldest is good enough to be able to kind of play it, not as much of a button basher. Middle daughter isn't good enough to play it, so is a button basher. What this means is that it is all out war between my eldest and my middle daughter. And I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm loving it. This is great. Because they both get down to almost no health. And then one person wins. Every single time they play. The best, absolute best thing I've seen in ages. One of them's got so much health left, nearly dead. The other one's got so much health, but got more. One of them hits the other one, get their health right down. I'm like, oh my God, you're going to win. And then the one who's getting beaten uses the special super move, the big special move that you can use. I'm like, oh my God, she's going to win. And in the process of doing the special move, the other one punched them in the face and won the match. I was like, oh my God, that's absolutely insane. Amazing. It's an absolute delight to watch them just absolutely hammering the crap out of each other. Finally, everyone in my house has been playing Hogwarts Legacy, and I have abstained up till this point because I wanted to get Dead Space finished, and before that I wanted to finish Callisto and so on and so forth. Yesterday, finally gave in and started my playthrough of Hogwarts Legacy. I've been playing for a little while, and here's my early kind of review of it. So, a few things that I don't like. So this is the thing, if you own a PS5, you shouldn't ever see a loading screen. If that's the case, why is it that when I walk up to a door, I get a little loading thing spinning on the door before it opens? Running and not running. Places that you can run, places you can't run. This is a game mechanic that annoys me to the nth degree. Honestly, it needs to go. It's so annoying. Oh, follow this person, but don't run. Yeah, well, I ran to get here, didn't I? There's quite a few glitches, especially things like costume-wise. You'll put like a set of robes on, and then it's just like always, you know how clothing gets real glitchy. So that's that. Now then, on the flip side of things, I say about the door loading thing. Well, yeah, you probably are going to get some loading when it looks as amazing as it does. Honestly, I truly believe that the company that made it had just bitten off way more than they could chew. I was like, there is absolutely zero chance that this company is going to be able to do this game. They can't do what they promised it's going to be. It's going to be Cyberpunk 2077 all over again. So far, it absolutely is not. The size, the scale, the detail in this game is insane. I don't know how long they've been making it for. I don't know how much manpower or man hours have gone into it, but my word, it's bonkers. Very much one of those games. It reminds me, years and years and years ago, I played Grand Theft Auto 3. And the first night I had it, I played it for 11 hours straight. Turned it off to go to bed. And Leanne said to me, "What did you think to it?" And I went, "I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, there's things I like about it, but there's things I don't like about it." And then the next day, I played it for 10 hours straight. And at the end of that, I went, yeah, I might like it. It feels like that. There's a lot I don't like about it. It's an RPG, so it's 90% talking, which does my absolute bonce in. But there's a lot I do like about it. It's a very good game and it's very well made. And I'm almost surprised to be saying that. I feel surprised to be saying that. So, as with the way I've been playing games recently, that will be put into the mix. I'll be continuing to play Need for Speed. I might play some more Dead Space on New Game Plus, but stay tuned for a lot more Hogwarts Legacy updates. Let's put it like that. There we go. That's it. It was supposed to be a short one. Turned out to be a long one. I'll catch you next time. So there you go. What do you think to that? Another one done. Another one gone. Another week gone. Another week in the books. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. Listening to me ramble on about, well, stuff in it. Before you go, Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Click a thumbs up. Give us a like. Share the podcast around. Write a review where you can write a review. That helps the podcast, as long as you give it 5 stars. You can check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button so that you can get in touch with us, whichever method you want to get in touch with us. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Cookie Cast.